what happened after that? 2007. For the next 5 years or so, while the streaming business, while there, I'm reading point D, right? If you want to read more, guys, go to the link on point J, right? You will love that. While the streaming business thrived, Netflix captured huge amount of data patterns and preferences of the users from its streaming service, and Netflix do that even right now, right? If you go to Netflix, I'm sure most of you would have, you will see lots and lots of information, right? Number one, series today in India, right? They'll give you, if you have seen. Maybe 300 you would like to be, you would like to watch Spartan, right? Or maybe House of Cards or something like that, right? So they give a lot of recommendation. They have these recommendation engines, and how are they able to build those recommendation engines, or how are they able to come up with those ideas like number one or number two in India? It's on the basis of the data that they are generating, they are saving, and they're analyzing, right? Netflix keenly observed, so streaming service. I'm on point E over here. Sorry, it's a little long, but pretty interesting. During this time, Netflix keenly observed other trends. From 2007 to 2012, Netflix keenly observed something else. What was that? The popularity of series like Game of Thrones and Game of Thrones, and all that on HBO. 2011 it was. See, so what happened with Netflix? And this is interesting, right? In Britain, there was a very famous series on Margaret Thatcher, right? And the US version of it, adaptation of the US version of it, when it came available, when some production house came up with it, and in 2013, Netflix said that, okay, I'm going to do a multi-million-dollar deal, and I'm going to grab it, right? Because I know that people will like to watch House of Cards all across the world, because it's about US presidency, House of Cards. So Netflix got it, and from then onwards, this was in 2013, right? From then onwards, the concept of originals started. Netflix originals, and everybody copied it after that. That 2013 was the time when Netflix had only one original, that was House of Cards. After that, Netflix itself came up with thousands of originals. The meaning of originals is any content which is proprietary to that particular service. So apart from Netflix, nobody else can use this, what do you call, House of Cards, unless until the production house breaks the deal with Netflix and comes up with something. This is a multi-million dollar they have spent only for buying the production rights or telecast rights of House of Cards. Imagine how much money people put in, right? And just on the basis of their analysis, just on the basis of and the analysis on the basis of the data that they are generating, right? Netflix termed this as Netflix original. I'm on point G over, my dear friends, right? The concept of originals became an instant hit with HBO, right? And it passed partner Hotstar, and there are so many other series. If you're like me, you would know it, right? Handmaid's Tale, and a lot of other things. And now they're coming up with it in Hindi also, right? Sacred Games. The other day I was watching something called as, what was that? Suitable Boy. And later on, I'm on point I, Netflix integrated a machine learning based algorithm recommendation engine to user subscribe, right? Just to keep them hooked. Seeing House of Cards, maybe there are 10 things that you would like. And how would Netflix going to get the business if you renew your subscription? Their interest lies in, having increased subscription. So this is what the thing about Netflix. There are many more such case studies. I'm driving towards something. If I'm not able to drive that point today, we will do that tomorrow. We are going to start with that tomorrow. Don't worry about that. Slowly and slowly, I'm driving you guys towards that point of what is big data. I'll just give you another like 1 or 2 minutes to just take a breather and just let me know if you have any questions. Anybody? Right. The idea, as I said, just going to reiterate. I'm going to build the context about big data to you right now. And then I will, tell you what is big data. Then I'm going to tell you the architecture, introduce the technology around those architecture, and then slowly look at those. That's what I'll give you like another 1 minute to just take a breather. I know it's too much of information. Just be with me. It will get over soon, and then we will move to So these case studies are like the ones which I presented over here were like the easy ones. You can just read it in bullet points. Like the examples that I've given over here have got links in them. The examples that I'm going to talk about right now are much more details, much more detailed, or much more intense. And just let me quickly ask you all a question. It's been about an hour we've been in the session. Let me talk to you about something else, and I'm going to play some videos over here. Right? Let me do that. All right. We all know about, and this example is from the FedEx, from the logistics domain, and this is actually something that I have prepared especially for, for the Mercedes-Benz people, because they asked me to specifically ready something which is with respect to the logistics domain, distribution and supply chain. So FedEx, we all know, is into the business of couriering and distribution and logistics and supply chain. So what, and they've been there since time immemorial, like since last many years, right? So FedEx, from last so many years since they have been in business, they have actually generated a lot of data. And one fine day they thought that, I'm just giving you a background. One fine day they thought that maybe generating data is not enough. Maybe we need to analyze. And when they just sat and analyzed it, they realized that maybe they can come up with some value-added service, right? And they came up with something called as SenseAware, right? And SenseAware is you'll come to know about it. I'm going to play a video, for you all, right? So just give me a moment. Let me just go through these, points one by one. Handles so many millions of shipments a day. All the generated data gets saved for analysis further on. That's what FedEx is doing. But FedEx wasn't only storing data. It recognizes the potential behind. Therefore, it has always looked for opportunity to use the leverage data. And what do they use for to come up with these kind of products that I'll be introducing to you right now? Quite recently, not very, far ahead in the past. It has used all the stored data over the years to build a next generation, first of its kind information, right? Here is the video to understand it better, and here is the link to the website to see how it works. Let me actually play the video maybe first, okay? Just click here. I hope you are still with me. That was about what SenseAware is all about, right? How it puts those devices in your shipment, and then with devices and GPS, that is a GPS device, and the GPS device you can find out what is where your shipment is, and that might be important for people. I mean, think about if you're sending your some important documentation like your academic details from one place to another. You would want to locate it, and you would not want to get lost somewhere. So what FedEx does is with SenseAware, it puts that device in that particular box in which it puts a shipment, and with that it actually locates it from locates it everywhere, right? Let me just go to the website also and open it for you and show you how it looks like. Yeah, I'm going to the website here. Somehow it is not opening up. Let me see. Yeah, all right. Somehow it is not opening. See if I can open it on Safari. Proved to be lucky for me. Yeah, this is what all you can do. Program journey, invite stakeholder, the journey of your shipment, activate and pack, monitor and receive alerts, collaborate, unpack and return, generate reports, improve efficiency, right? What are the kind of services you can get? Subscription based or one-time single journey for your shipment, right? What does it, what is the kind of statistics it gives you about your shipment, temperature, humidity? You could be sending something which is medically sensitive. I mean, in these COVID days, you might be passing on information of your whatever vaccine or whatever research that you are doing, right? So you would want to know whether it has, it is saved or preserved while it is in transit. Shock, it might be something fragile, light exposure, right? And more importantly, current location, where you're shipping, and you would want to know that as well. So, FedEx came up with this service and then they commercialized, right? So people use it by very extensive. It's not only about sending your shipment from one place to another. It's also about tracking your ship and tracking all these statistics about your ship. Imagine the kind of value added service provided. So that's how analyzing the your data can change your business, right? One of the changes that you can introduce in your business is to come up with value added services like FedEx did, right? FedEx came up with something like they said SenseAware, it is going to give you additional statistics, and you might have to pay the price for it, but people are willing to pay the price, right? Don't have any issues with that. So that is one very interesting case study. I have put all the links in the slide, right? If you want to explore more, and I would suggest you spend time today to explore this more, you will get a better idea. Yeah. So that's that. I'm just going to close this because it's somehow not opening, and I'm just going to make this full screen back. Yeah. Now let me talk about something else. I showed you an example of Google Maps some time back, and how Google Map is basically helping you share live locations or managing, let's say, traffic signals, which is, by the way, just only one of the examples. But what is Google Map as a product, right? I'll just come over here and talk about. Yeah, I've already told the details of the slide, so we won't go to it right now. We'll probably come here, right? So I went to the Google website to to generate to collect this information. I put the link over here. Click on the link. It should open you the 101 from Google itself. Here is how we map the world. And it's a long article, right? You can read it at your leisure whenever you want. But it's very interesting to read. I did this in January sometime this year and found it to be something very useful. Well, so what does how is Google Map made, and how do they make use of big data? So basically, they have divided everything into four: imagery, data, your imagery, your data, your human factor, the people, and machine learning. Right. So let's go and find out what these things are. What is imagery? Obviously, they will take images from the satellite, right? Launched in early 2000, it shows where the roadways, building, and addresses and business are located in the region. Like for example, in my and I'm sure you can also see this in my Google Map. I can see the location and actually see my building, right? Even my swimming pool as well. I can see that, right? So how does Google take those pictures? Google takes it by the cameras which are there in the satellites, which are there in the space. Additionally, these are just the gist. If you read that article, you will get that more in detail. But if you, in case you find that you don't have time to do that, you can, just read this. It also shows other important detail such as town speed limits or business names, right? So here in India, we don't have time limits. But when I go to Sydney, for example, for my trainings, I'm told that on a particular road, this is the speed at which you have to drive, 80 miles per hour. You drive slower than this, you will get into two problems. One is you'll get a ticket, traffic police ticket, that you were driving slower. And second, on a bigger problem is that somebody who's driving in 80 might come back and might come and bump you, right? Crash you from behind. That is more dangerous, much more dangerous, right? So you have to maintain that speed. The concept is not there in India because obviously it's a very populated, we live in a very populated, loving country. In some country, wherever it's applicable, it does that as well. The second part of imagery is, which has come, I think, later, 2007, right? After 7 years, is the street view, right? In 2007, street view was launched to help people virtually explore the entire world, from the depths of Antarctica to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. It has been 12 years since then. Actually, it has been 13 years. Street View car and tracker operations have collected more than 170 billion from 87 countries. They have something called as tracker device. Here's the tracker device, by the way. It looks like there's a little bit like robot. People actually take images with this. People who work for Google, and then they put that in the for the street view. If you are interested, you can read more about it. I got interested and I read about all this. Yes, and there's a chance that if you go through it in the detail, you might get into more details as well. And that is equipped with high resolution sensors and increased aperture. The quality of imagery captured by Google has significantly improved in Google Maps, right? And you would see that, right? Google Maps they are innovating. Of late, I saw a feature in Google Maps, and again, I hope we are not going out of the context. But again, all this is they are doing on the basis of the tremendous amount of data that they store and research upon, right? Which is basically the next part over here. And so let's move on to that. Data, right? Which is why we are here. Data for Google Maps comes from more than 1,000 third-party sources from all across the world, right? For example, I don't know whether you know this or not, but and I saw this in Sydney and I experienced this in Bangalore and Bombay also. If I have to go from place A to B in all these three cities, I can map that on my Google Map on my phone. It will tell me the entire route. So in Sydney, it will tell me how much I have to walk and then what time I'm going to walk to the bus stop, at what time the bus will be coming, right? And it actually does come at that time in Bangalore, in Mumbai, and in Sydney. And from by taking that bus to which place you have to get down, and from there you'll get a train, and from there you'll get a ferry and whatever, right? So you can plan your journey around, right? So that kind of data, that kind of information. Imagine how useful it is. When I am in Sydney, I don't have a car, so I travel on my own. So this thing becomes very, very useful. Government bodies like United States Geological Survey (USGS) and the National Institute of Statistics, Statistics and Geography in Mexico provide information about the entire country. So how these cities like Sydney, Mumbai, and Bangalore are able to give the relevant information about when the bus is coming or a train is coming. The government organizations here, like BMC here in Mumbai or BMTC in Bangalore, passes on the information to Google, and Google punches that information, the real time information. Google punches it into the application, and there's this understanding between Google and these government bodies. Maybe government bodies, Google pays government bodies for that. They would have that kind of contract between them.